mind, well, as we're talking about this, is in your experience as a manager, are you and your colleagues able to focus in on doing the right work? That's the key question for you. Because so often in my experience, as a manager myself, as an executive, as a head of organizations, and now as a management consultant, I find that understanding priorities is a major challenge for individuals inside organizations. So here's a starting point for us. If we think about strategy, what percentage of organizations are able to actually achieve their strategies? I think you'd be surprised. 70% fail, and only 5% are able to successfully attain their strategic objectives. This is from work that was published in Harvard Business Review. I can give you the references on my website. How about manager effectiveness? Only 54% of managers say that they're focused in on the work that they were hired to do. That's just barely over half. In terms of collaboration, only 9% of managers say that they can count on their colleagues in other parts of the organization to do what they say they will do. And in terms of clarity of accountability, on a 10-point scale, managers score less than 7 out of 10 in terms of being clear about what they're accountable for. So this starts to give you a picture of the difficulty that we have in organizations in terms of focusing in on the right thing. And this comes back to strategy. If we think about strategy, most organizations are pretty good about implementing their strategies. But developing a strategy and implementing strategy are two different things. So while organizations develop strategies well, strategies are not executed well. So that in that 3 or 5 years, this Pegasus that they originally envisioned ends up looking something like this. Yeah, it's kind of like a horse, looks like it's kind of happy, but it's not the Pegasus that those in the organization imagined that they could be over the time of that strategic plan. So things went off track. And this is not because of any ill intent. It's not because people didn't want to achieve in terms of their strategic objectives. It's because people weren't able to focus in on the most important work that was necessary to attain those strategies. So some other additional research that I think will be interesting to you. In the research that we've done with the University of Ottawa's Telfer School of Management, we found that 36% of managers identify that work does not flow smoothly across their organizations. And almost 50% of managers experience conflict in terms of working with others in other parts of the organization. So these are indicators that managers feel personally that they're not able to focus in on the right work. And this is because organizations are complicated, highly complex organizations. And it's not because managers don't want to do good work. In our own research, we found that managers score nearly 100% in terms of their understanding of their work objectives, in terms of feeling accountable for achieving their work, in terms of feeling capable for doing their work. But on the other hand, the scores are almost the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of they're doing their actual managerial work, spending an appropriate amount of time managing their subordinates, 70-ish%. I don't experience any conflicts with my accountabilities. This is reverse score, so most actually do experience these conflicts. I'm able to strike the right balance between doing my managerial work and the work that only I can do at my level, over 60%. And work flows smoothly across the organization. I mentioned that already. So we do have issues in terms of managers understanding what their managerial work is. So this leads to what I call organizational churn. Inside the organization,